What's up, boys and girls? It's time for a review / reaction, discussion, theory, whatever, all in one, of the new One Piece chapter 1072, The Weight of Memory. Which is a double meaning because you have the literal sense, since Vegapunk is trying to find out the mass of things like souls and pain in this chapter, but also metaphorically. You know, the burden of bad memories, traumatic experiences, tragic events, which I'm sure are plenty in Kuma's lifetime. Anyway, we begin the chapter with the statement of Vegapunk about the first successful clone that we see in the end. So that means that was like 20 plus years back, right? Because that's when Madge was active. So they had a lot of time to clone people. We'll talk more about that later. But first, we see Bonnie crying, doing what women do best. Manipulate you emotionally for personal gain. And it works. She attacks Vegapunk and we see some cool abilities, like when she did that with that like when she pushed all those shiny things that represent Vegapunk's lost years. Also, an interesting fact that Bonnie shares with us is that the effects of her ability are temporary for living things. She specifies the living part, but what about inanimate objects? Can she alter them permanently? We actually see her use her ability on a lock of a door that she destroys. I have an idea. What if she used her power on the Iron Giant to make him brand new again? Would the Iron Giant then be functional? I don't have the answers, I'm just asking questions. Like Bonnie, who asks Vegapunk about the reason that he turned her father into a cyborg, and then we cut to the actual Kuma climbing the red line. But if Kuma wanted to go to marry Joa, couldn't he just do that from the beginning? With his powers, couldn't he just fly there directly? I thought the whole point of him going to marry Joa as a slave, story-wise, was for that reason. Because my headcanon was that his ability requires you to visit a place before sending someone there. So I thought after the reverie, Kuma and the revolutionaries would have quick access to marry Joa for the final war and stuff. I thought that was Ora's plan. I was wrong, I guess. By the way, if you think about it, Kuma is acting a lot like the Iron Giant did 200 years back. They both suddenly started climbing the red line to attack or reach Mary Joa for an unknown reason. Well, for Kuma, the trigger, the thing that caused this behavior, is part of Vegapunk's plan, right? A secret plan that is now in motion. Vegapunk claims that he can't say anything to Bonnie because it would just cause her pain. And he also promised to Kuma. But he doesn't need to say anything because Bonnie stumbles upon a room with that paw-shaped bubble from Kuma's power. And of course, when you see that, Thriller Bark comes to mind. The one with Luffy's pain that Zoro dove into and gave us possibly the best One Piece moment ever. Definitely Zoro's best. Well, Vegapunk is trying to convince Bonnie that this one also contains pain, but it's actually Kuma's memories. I always wondered what else could Kuma push out of someone after the nothing happened moment. I remember back in the day when I was watching the anime for the first time, I thought, what if Kuma could push out the devil power out of someone? And now we're talking about imagination and memories. So that wasn't that far-fetched, I guess. But really, what else could he repel? I have some ideas. First of all, ideas. You know, the thoughts of someone. He could push out the thoughts of someone or put ideas in like Inception. Emotions. Happiness, sadness, fear, rage, love. You could make someone fall in love with you. I don't know. Knowledge. Take out information without having to resort to torture. Then ideals. You know, with an L, ideals, values. Remember when Professor Clover was talking with a Gorosei, right before he got shot, and said that the government is not afraid about the weapons, the ancient weapons, as much as the ancient kingdom's values. What if those values are tangible? Okay, then, ambition, will, the dream, you know. Could he, for example, take out Luffy's ambition to become Pirate King? And then Luffy's like, I'm gonna be an accountant or something. You know, the whole sending nerve signals via radio is of course what Vegapunk is doing with his brain waves. He sends those to himself with that Apple antenna and to his satellites. So Kuma's memories did advance science. Speaking of Kuma's memories, we're about to get Kuma's flashback. So we'll find out why they call him a tyrant, about his lineage, you know, the whole special race thing, probably. I mean, in general, it should be one of the most tragic backstories in One Piece. Also, I want to mention here one idea that I had. You know, this concept of taking out memories opens up some possibilities. The possibility of memories that were extracted from previous users of the Nikki no Mi being kept somewhere. I don't know, like JoyBoy's memories being at Laugh Tale. Maybe that's the One Piece, or at least part of it. We know that there is a story there about JoyBoy. Maybe that's what the Roger Pirates saw that made them all laugh. How much can you put in a poneglyph, right? In stone. But with the memories, you can tell pretty much his whole story or whatever. Also in the anime, during this scene, they played the song Memories.
JoyBoy!
Come on, coincidence? Maybe. Back to the chapter now. We get a little flashback with Kuma and Vegapunk in his lab, talking about the weight of souls, 21 grams. Of course, that's from our world, from an experiment that was done back in 1907, which supposedly found that number. But it has been heavily criticized and pretty much disregarded. However, unlike real life, there is no doubt that souls exist in the One Piece world. I mean, I don't really need to support this, but I will, I guess, anyway. You have, first of all, Big Mom's Devil Fruit, the soul fruit that manipulates souls. Then you have Brook's Devil Fruit, that allows him to manipulate his own soul. And also, he returned from the afterlife as a soul. In Skypiea, there is the forest that is supposedly the destination of the souls of their ancestors there, you know. We have Klabauterman, that is the spirit or the soul of a ship. You have Law, that can change the personalities / souls. I don't know about that. Vivre cards that are infused with life force. I mean, what's that about? We have the breath of all things. Very, you know, spiritual concept. And last, and definitely least, we have Moria saying that the shadows are another soul of the body. That's all that I could think of. So yeah, One Piece souls are real, as Whitebeard would say. I would have said souls inhabit devil fruits, and I still believe it. But Vegapunk can recreate them scientifically, so I don't know. But I still believe it because of the awakening part. Vegapunk doesn't know if his man-made fruits can awaken. I will say that they can't, because what is awakening? It's in the name. The soul, or devil, awakens. But enough of this soul bullshit. Let's talk about the rest of the gang there. CP0 has arrived, along with the Seraphim, that came on their own volition. So they're capable of some decision making. We saw that they have personalities when Seraphim Hancock spoke with Jinbe. But now that the Seraphim are here, the Vegapunks can reclaim control since they're higher in the command chain. But what if two Vegapunks give different orders? Then what? They should have a second hierarchy between them. Maybe they are ordered like their numbers indicate. You know, number 1 is Sokka, then Lilith, Edison, Pythagoras, Atlas, and York at last. This could be important if something goes wrong, like Lilith betraying the Straw Hats. I mean, Zoro said in chapter 1064 that Lilith can't be trusted. There is a theory from Sawyer about this. The biggest plot twist in One Piece history, something like that. Now, if we were to believe Mr. Seven Mage and Lilith sides with the Navy, that means the 4 Seraphim here will be our enemies. But also, Kizaru is coming to Egghead with a fleet of ships, right? And they said he was already coming for a prior operation. I would think he was coming to bring back the other Seraphim. There are 3 remaining from the original Shichibukai. Crocodile, Doflamingo, and Moria. Then we'd have the Straw Hats versus the original Shichibukai. Plus Kizaru, some of the G-14 Marines, and whoever else is aboard those Navy ships. I like how Lucci orders the Seraphim to destroy the lab, and back in chapter 1062, they said, We need to be careful not to destroy Vegapunk's lab. It's so valuable. By the way, who deactivated the Frontier Dome? Pythagoras said no one was in the control room. Is it an inside job? Or, let me put this out there. Remember Caribou? He's somewhere in this labosphere and he's an informant of someone. If that someone is indeed Blackbeard, what if he requested from the Blackbeard pirates to come get him because he doesn't have a way out of the island in exchange for that ancient weapon info? And he was the one that turned off the lasers so that the Blackbeard pirates can come in. Maybe Sirku because he's invisible. Or maybe Miss Buckingham Palace there works for the Blackbeard pirates. I don't know, I'm just trying to understand why Caribou is here. Speaking of Miss Bucky Stussy clone, you mean to tell me that Weevil is an actual clone of Whitebeard? But of course, you wouldn't call that successful. That begs the question though. What other clones are there? I hope we don't really milk this clone concept, but just for fun, let's throw out there some ideas, some names. They're all pretty much about the Rock's crew. First of all, they must have cloned Kaido. They had him in captivity. They experimented on him, and he is the strongest creature. Land, sea, and air, you know. Okay, back then he wasn't, but still. So who is the clone? Well, it's kinda obvious. Who else could it be? But Alvida! Look at her spiked club! It was right there in front of us. But seriously, who could it be? This motherfucker who's who is quite suspicious. Always wearing a mask and all. I mean, can that be his real name? It sounds like a troll from Oda. He has the horns, but also he has pink hair. What if Yamato is Kaido's clone? Yamato also fights with a club and uses the same techniques as Kaido. And we don't know anything about Kaido's wife. Maybe because it doesn't exist? Okay, let's speed this up a bit. You have Bonnie and Big Mom, you know, pink hair, they eat a lot. They're pretty much identical. Besides the fact that Big Mom had enough strength as a child to one-shot a giant and Bonnie just got defeated by some bugs. Shiki and Killer, you know, long blonde hair and Killer always wears that mask. What are you hiding? And then Rox and Kid, they have that spiky hair and that's pretty much it. Well, I tried. So Stussy betrays Kaku and bites his neck to put him to sleep. Kaku is the best target for vampires. With that giraffe neck. So Stussy has a vampire devil fruit. Or a bad zone, but come on. That would be lame. Now help me understand. Is Stussy helping Vegapunk? Is he the ally that they were talking about? Is that why Sokka said to Dragon, I think I'm gonna die? Because he had inside info that the CP0 was coming to eliminate him. Or has the ally not appeared yet? Is the ally another clone? I had a troll theory that the ally is gonna be whatever hatched from the egg from Roger's ship. Remember that egg? Just because, you know, Egghead Island. I mean, if we were to ever see what happened to that egg, this would be the place. I guess this is a good point to end this shit because now we're talking about eggs. Well, this is it for today. Thanks for watching and peace out.